Hey there, this is Ruben from Dutch Round 1. Thanks again for coming by. Thanks for watching another episode. As always, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your support. Today, what are we going to do? Well, we'll do a little bit of grammar. We will take a look at the adjectives in Dutch and more specifically at the conjugation. So when do we add an E? When do we not add an E? But before we do that, remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments if this grammar lesson was useful for you or not. But without much further ado, let's go straight for our grammar lesson. So first of all, when do we conjugate an adjective? Well, only once, and that is if the adjective is placed in front of a noun. We take a look at the examples. Het kleine huis, de grote man en de nieuwe auto. So the small house, the tall man and the new car. As you can see, the adjectives, when they are not conjugated, are klein, groot and nieuw, but you see that we add an E. Kleine, grote, nieuwe. So that is basically how we conjugate our adjectives. Remember, only add an E if the adjective is in front of the noun, not when it's at the end. So as you can see, when do we not conjugate an adjective? If the adjective is placed after the noun. We take a look at the examples. For example, het huis is klein, de man is groot, de auto is nieuw. So as you can see, the adjectives do not change. The house is small, the man is tall, the car is new. So in this case, you will find your adjectives at the end of the sentence and more importantly, after the noun. So then you will not change, you will not conjugate your adjective. So how do we conjugate the adjectives? Well, if the grammar rules apply, what is the grammar rule? Our adjective is in front of our noun. We will add an E at the end of the adjectives. Groot becomes grote, klein becomes kleine, and wit becomes witte. I also want you to take a look at the spelling, especially with groot and especially with wit. So as you can see, with groot, when we conjugate it, we lose an O. Why do we do that? Well, basically, that is the vowel, consonant, vowel rule. Alright, so we've got a double O, right? We will add an E. We can take an O away. Why can we do that? Well, in Dutch, we have something which is called vowel, consonant, vowel rule. We'll take a look at the conjugated adjective, grote. Now, we've got an O, which is a vowel. We've got a T, which is a consonant, and we've got an E, which is a vowel again. So vowel, consonant, vowel. In this case, we know that our first O is pronounced long, so we don't need to write two O's. We can leave one out. Okay? Then we go to wit, right? Then witte would be the conjugated adjectives. But why do we write two T's? Well, again, the vowel, consonant, vowel rule. If we would only write one T, we would say wiete. We would pronounce that I in a long fashion. However, wit in the original adjective is pronounced short. So we need to respect that pronunciation. And how can we do that? Well, by adding an extra T, so we know that the first I will be pronounced short and we will say witte. So now we will take a look at some more specific grammar rules. Now, for the conjugation of the adjectives, it's important to know whether the noun is going with the article het or whether the noun is going with the article de. I know in Dutch this is very difficult as we do not have a lot of rules basically showing when to use het and when to use de. If you want more information, please click the following link. This is a video I made on when to use het and when to use de. But again, I have to say the best way is basically when you learn a new word, learn also the article. So, as we know, the adjective has to be in front of the noun to be conjugated. We will take a look at the examples. We have een groot huis, koud water en het grote huis. Alright? So, basically, when the noun goes by the article het, but is preceded by een, or no article at all, the adjective does not change. As you can see, een groot huis. Huis is going with the article hut. Perfect, een precedes, so we can leave our adjective as is. Koud water, cold water. Alright, water is our noun. There is no article, there is no een, there is no hut, there is nothing, so koud, the adjective, can stay as is. However, with het grote huis, then we have hut, which precedes. Huis is going with the article hut, so in this case we have to conjugate the adjective, and we have to say het grote huis. Why? It's preceded by the article hut. The only way when we do not adapt it is when it's preceded by een or no article at all. Then on the next slide we will take a look at some words which precede words that go with the article hut, which do not imply a change or a conjugation of the adjective. Alright, so we have geen, zo'n, welk, and ieder. Alright, take a look at the examples. Geen goed nieuws. Nieuws, the news. The article is het nieuws. It's preceded by geen, so the adjective stays the same. Then we have zo'n groot huis. Such a big house. Again, huis is going with the article hut. However, it's preceded by zo'n, which is such a. In this case, we do not need to conjugate our adjective. And then the last one, welk rood potlood, which red pencil. Potlood, het potlood, okay, preceded by welk, so we do not have to change our adjective, and in this case it would be rood, right? So het woorden, that means words which are going with the article het, when they are preceded by words such as geen, elk, zo'n, ieder, and welk, we do not have to change our adjective. Alright, let's continue. Okay, so we finished our het woorden, so words that go with the article het. Now we will take a look at the de woorden, right? So the first rule, is the adjective in front of the noun? Yes, okay. Do we have to conjugate it or do we not have to conjugate it? Let's take a look at the examples. We have de oude man, een nieuwe auto, de lange brief, en de mooie paarden. Alright, we see all of the adjectives are conjugated. Well, with de, it's easy. Whenever the noun is going with the article de, doesn't matter if it's preceded by the article de or if it's preceded by een, you will add an i. De oude man, een nieuwe auto, de lange brief, de mooie paarden. The old man, a new car, the long letter, and the beautiful horses. Right? The words, or words that go with the article the, pretty easy. You will always conjugate them if your adjective is in front of the noun. Now we'll take a look at some exceptions. So we have adjectives ending in en, right? So when the adjective ends in en, we do not add an e in any case. So it doesn't matter if it's going with de, with het, if it's preceded by het, if it's preceded by een, if it's preceded by het or de, doesn't matter. For example, de houten bank, the wooden bank, een gouden ring, the golden ring. Why do we not add an e? Well, that would complicate it for pronunciation's sake, so we leave out the e at all. So words ending in en, you do not add an e, you do not conjugate the adjective. So this was the grammar lesson for today. I hope it was useful for you. I hope it helps you to know when to conjugate your adjectives and when not to. I hope it clarifies a lot of things, because I know the conjugation of the adjectives can be quite confusing in Dutch. I want to thank you again for watching. As always, I appreciate your time, I appreciate your support, so don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments if this was useful for you or not. Also, if you're struggling with something in Dutch, let me know in the comments and then I can make a video about it. I want to thank you again for your time. I wish you a great rest of the day and stay tuned for another episode of Dutch Round 1.